Ferintosh Station is one of the stations along the Mount Cook Road on the western side of Lake Pūkaki in the Mackenzie Basin. It's a Crown pastoral lease and it's quite a large high country station, and it's in a really spectacular spot.
Wilding conifers, they are something that is truly a landscape scale problem. They are a problem on lots and lots of values, so they impact on farming obviously. They have a massive impact in places like this on landscape values and on biodiversity values. And also in things like hydroelectricity generation, so water availability. And behind me you can see Aoraki, and on the side here is Lake Pūkaki. And that's where a lot of New Zealand's energy comes from. So they're basically things that we want to get rid of.
Still don't know that people really appreciate the speed at which this spread occurs and how much we stand to lose. These trees will grow 1,000 metres higher than our native forest line. That a lot of what we recognise as alpine or subalpine mountain lands will just be covered. That 25% of the country will be covered by wilding conifers, and farmland will be impacted, and dangerous fires that we're not so used to in New Zealand that you see in Canada or the States, they could be a thing in New Zealand if we allowed those fuel loads to build up in those dry places where wilding conifers flourish. So the work that's happening here on Ferintosh is sort of a progression of the work that's been happening in this broader infestation of contorta and other wilding pine species, progressively working back from the Mount Cook end of the infestation, pushing it back down towards the turn off to Mount Cook, and I guess the aim being that we're preventing the invasion up towards Mount Cook and just reducing the seeding into the area. Back in 2015, when we were just really kicking things off in the wilding program, a lot of this area that we're controlling now was really only starting to be heavily invaded. So it was a lot of scattered small wildings, a bit like the ones behind me. But now it's truly a dense forest, sort of 6,000 stems per hectare dense. You can't even walk through it, and there's some quite big trees in there now, so it happens really quickly.
In this area here, or this project here, we've got at least 4 different methodologies happening, at least 6 different contracting crews at any given time, and at least 3 different funding streams. So yeah, she's a complicated project, but it's really cool to bring it all together.
The larger trees, of which there's not that many, the logs from those will go sort of export through the port, and everything smaller, which is most of it, will go for use for biofuel. So it's really good, that combination of being able to sell the logs that are sellable and then use the rest for biofuel just makes it so we can kind of recoup the costs of doing it.
Since opening up and starting the harvesting operation, we've actually found quite a lot of unmapped wetlands, ephemeral streams and pockets of native. So all the normal challenges come with that. The guys out there, full recognition to the crews working these sites. They've managed to protect all these areas that we sort of didn't know were here at the start.
So around natives, we'll be doing lots of stuff up the top around native patches anywhere where the helicopter can't spray, where the mulchers can't get into. The digger's going to make a mess, so we can go in with our chainsaws and not make a mess, keep things tidy, nice light footprint.
Furthest up the hill, the timber's not useful for anything, it's too hard to access. That will be boom sprayed. Further down, the trees get quite large, but they're not really big enough for harvesting. So in that site, there'll be diggers go through, and they'll be basically mulching into wood chips.
Mulching is a machine, it's an implement that goes on the head of the digger. So when we hit the tree, we go up the tree and we bring it down, and it turns it into what you see here. If you get enough trees, and this is where it's perfect in the Mackenzie because there's so many stems per hectare, you can get enough mulch on the ground that it suppresses and it creates a cover. We can prove that up to 5 years, 4 years anyway, hardly any wilding trees have come back on the mulch.
This is a LINZ funded project, but actually the most important thing with this program of work across the country is the central government working in partnership with regional government and with communities to get the job done. That's, in my experience in operational things, is a little bit rare, and it's actually making real progress on the ground, and that there is the thing we've got to carry on doing.
think what the program's shown is that if you focus the resources in the right places and you have that continuity of funding, this is a winnable problem, absolutely. You know, they're easy to kill, they're easy to cut down, they're quite predictable. We know if you go back every 3 years, you will be able to take out the seedlings before they cone. The seed longevity in the soil, less than 2 years. So it's not like gorse or broom that has a seed bank that sits there forever. It will get exhausted, but you just have to have that focused effort of doing the initial control and then doing the rounds of maintenance afterwards to exhaust that seed source.
The good news is that through the National Wilding Conifer program, we're over halfway there. The most important thing is that we don't stop now. We have to carry on, and we've probably got another 8 to 10 years of heavy lifting, and then we will have got on top of the problem, and that's what we've got to do.
The vision for this place is that tourists can come up here and they can see a landscape that looks like New Zealand as we have in the Mackenzie and the South Island. We've got big wide open landscapes here. This is called Big Sky Country for a reason. It's got beautiful tussock lands, it's got some amazing grazing lands, and so to have that scenery reflected in the gateway to the park would be brilliant.